What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another week 18 of the Playbook with Joey and Zach. We do know we didn't have a show this past Wednesday. The Celtics had game one. I was at the Red Sox game. We had some reasons, obviously, but we're back at it now live. A little bit different than our normal episodes. We're coming live from 2000 Com Ave, our dorm. This is probably our second time.
Second time since the Bean Pot special. We're back here.
Exactly. We had to run this live off of a big wiffle ball game just now. So
Yeah, big wiffle ball game.
Coming in fresh from
Couple
that.
big runs from Joey Malari.
We had a good game, though. It was 8-5. It was a solid matchup. You know, we had either good amount of innings, probably 8 innings. So it was a good game. Now we're jumping into the Celtics.
Yeah, let's get right into it.
Jump right into the Celtics, and then I'll get into some other things at the end. So
Pete Fraser's game tonight at Fenway. So.
the ALS game at Fenway tonight, BC baseball versus Virginia Tech. Big game. I'll cover that later on. Me and Zach are going to talk Celtics before he leaves. All right, Celtics game 3 tonight. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on game 1 and 2? I mean, we can go anywhere.
Game 1 and 2 are incredible. Obviously, Tatum, Brown, despite having not incredible shooting performances, both played unbelievably, both in terms of playmaking on offense and defensively. Both played extremely hard. Someone I've been psyched about this series is Al Horford. Having 20 and 15 the first game.
Who's elite?
He's been a beast. Guarding the paint really well, especially at the Bruce Brown's comments the other week saying it's going to be easy to attack the paint for the Nets without Rob Williams. Who, by the way, him coming back tonight, I think will be big. Not so much tonight, but definitely in games 4 and 5 as he starts to ease back into the game because he'll be playing limited minutes tonight. So definitely excited for him to come back. Ben Simmons should be coming back Monday as well, so that'll make things a little bit more interesting. But the way things are looking right now, I guess Celtics in 5. I mean, you look at the way this team's playing defensively. Tatum's locked up Kevin Durant really well, holding them to 0% second half in the last game. I just see the Celtics team. I mean, I don't really see it. If we can keep playing like this, I don't see anyone beating the Celtics right now. We've just been playing team ball, everyone's scoring. There's no hero ball out there. So I got Celtics in 5 right now. I bet Nets will either take game 3 or game 4 at home, and the Celtics are going to close it out game 5. What do you got?
I mean, yeah, games 1 and 2. Kyrie obviously had a phenomenal game 1. Kevin Durant wasn't really on game 1. Shots were just in and out. This last game, he was just missing shots that he usually makes, and they weren't even in and out. He was just not on. Obviously, the defense was a big part of it. Tatum played very good defense on him. Grant Williams played a little bit on him. They kind of switched around on him. Brown was on him a little bit.
They did. We had a lot of switches.
We had a lot of guys covering him. Exactly. A lot of guys were on him. Obviously, you got to keep that intensity up. Game 1 was really close. With game 2, though.
We'll finish up game 1, too. I forgot to mention.
Game 1, big win, won by a point, obviously close game right to the last second. Game 2, though, interesting thing was what Bruce Brown was running his mouth, but it was warranted, I guess, because he had an 11-0 run to start the game, a 9-0 run. It was nuts. It was first 11 points in the game was him.
In the first half, the Nets were beating us by what?
In game 2.
17 at one point.
Yeah, we came back.
Yeah, we came all the way back. 17-point deficit. That was awesome.
Came back, obviously, and you get a lot of contributions from a lot of guys. Obviously, Grant Williams played great in game 2, 17 points, 6 rebounds, excuse me.
He shot really well, too. 3-pointers were on. He had 2 in a row at one point. That was a huge swing for us.
Peyton Pritchard, too.
Yeah.
Pritchard has been playing great.
Came with that one step back 3 at the end of game 2. That was sick.
Yep. I mean, I know my boys, Timmy and Matt, they were on my show last week. Also, I want to apologize. Last week's episode, last Wednesday, before Easter break, I had a 2-hour special for Collins. It was great. Didn't record, so I apologize for that. Matt and Timmy, though, big Payne Pritchard guys. He played great off the bench, hit some clutch threes in the fourth quarter. A layup, too, he had. He was great. A couple steals.
He was a great scorer. A couple mid-range pull-ups, yeah.
What did he finish with? 10 points. I mean, they were all clutch points.
I think they were all probably second half. I mean, he didn't really get many minutes in the first half.
It was all fourth quarter, really, right? Him and Jalen Brown really took over in the fourth. I only got to really watch the fourth quarter. Me and Mark Walsh, Joey Hosey, Jacob. We were at the Red Sox game. Yeah, so
the way we've been forcing turnovers
has
been unreal. A lot of that's been coming from Smart, Tatum, Brown, those guys. Horford too. He's gotten in there, gotten a couple steals. It's just been a whole team defensive effort, and everything is really intense, which I love to see because this is a total 180 from the team that we were seeing, 3 months ago, 4 months ago.
Yeah.
That didn't even hustle back to get on defense. So.
And you know me and hustle. I talk about every episode. So I love my hustle, which the team's obviously up now. When you're up 2-0, though, it's a big difference between 3-0 and 2-1. I'd love to win tonight. I do think Durant will be on tonight just because, he's had 2 bad games. He never really has any bad games. So I'd imagine Durant will be on tonight. It'll be a tougher matchup with him. I think it'll be a close game once again. I think the Nets win game 3 like you do. I think the Celtics bounce back, win game 4 because obviously if it's 2-1, 3-1 versus 2-2 is an even bigger difference because the whole series changes. 3-0 is obviously a big difference with 0-3, but game 4 is going to be huge. So winning one of the games in Brooklyn, I think, is a win in its own. I would take one of them. And then, obviously, I think
the Celtics just taking one of those games.
I'd prefer today winning just because 3-0 would be awesome. But
either way,
I wouldn't be disappointed if we just won Game 4 instead.
If we're up 3-1, if we're up 3-1 coming out of Brooklyn, that would be ideal.
Which this would set up. If Brooklyn were to take one, this would set up Wednesday night being Game 5, because Monday night would be Game 4 in Brooklyn, and then Game 5 would be probably around our time of our show. And that'd probably be an 8 o'clock game. It'll probably be an 8 o'clock game, realistically. They haven't announced it yet. It's TBD right now. Obviously, today's 7:30. Monday's a 7 o'clock game. There's a chance. I mean, if it's 2-2, that game will be an 8 o'clock game. But if it's 3-1, it'll probably be a 7 o'clock game, realistically. So, I mean, series could be over before that. Who knows? I mean, it could be 4-0. Who knows? I mean, I'm not saying. Obviously, I'm not trying to jinx that. I mean, you got to win one game at a time. Take one play at a time.
You just got to play for tonight and play to go up 3-0 right now. So.
Definitely. What are your predictions, players-wise? Who do you think has to step up in tonight's game? For the Celtics, I think that's the defense overall. We're going to score points.
Definitely.
You got to keep Kevin Durant. I think he's going to have a good game. I see Durant going for 35, probably realistically. I think you got to keep him hitting. He's going to hit his shots probably tonight. I think he's going to be on. Make it at least as tough as you can on him. Slow him down at least to the best ability you can. I think that's going to be the biggest thing. I'm not going to pick a certain player. I think if I had to pick one, I'd go Jaylen Brown. With how great he played in that fourth quarter, he was unreal. So I'll go Jaylen, but the defense overall, I think that needs to be locked in again.
Too. I think the ability to force those turnovers, all those turnovers that we forced in games 1 and 2 were absolutely huge in getting both those wins. We scored a lot of points off turnovers in both of those. Gave us a lot of extra possessions. But my player to keep an eye on tonight is Grant Williams. I think he's had a great series so far, and he's really stepped up in a big way this year. He needs to continue being an elite defender, getting up on KD, getting up on some of the Nets' big men. Because he can really guard the 3 through 5, Grant. He's been an elite defender for us. And his ability just to keep shooting the 3, too, just spacing the floor, I think that's been big for the team. He's been a really solid piece so far in this series, and I feel like he's been an unsung hero kind of role for the team.
Yeah.
Definitely wouldn't be where we are without him, so going to need a big night from him again, similar to what we saw in Game 1 and 2, and I think him along with the other role players, guys like Pritchard stepping up, Celtics can take this one. Yeah,
I just got a report. Robert Williams has a max of 24 minutes tonight, likely to be between 20 and 24. 24 would be the max. It'd be a big piece, obviously, just having him back. Other 10 minutes would even be fine, just to get him a little bit warm before. You don't want to push him too hard. You don't want it to be, where he tweaks it again. He's out longer. Obviously, I'd like to take it easy on 10 minutes. I think we could use him. The points in the paint, we dominated last game, 44-34. Rebounds were 36-36. Last year, we really struggled with rebounds against the Nets. Obviously, a very different team, but obviously, like Horford, like you were saying, stepped up huge. We didn't have him last year, obviously.
Grant Williams and him.
Grant, blocks-wise, they had 8 last game, the Nets, which is impressive that we had 10 more points in the paint, which I know we drove a ton, but we had 10 more points in the paint, but got blocked 4 more times, 8-4, which I know blocks on everything, but, it's momentum at the end of the day, but it's just impressive. The Celtics still outscored them in the paint, even though we were outblocked 4 times. But that's also because the Celtics drove it a lot more. You're going to have more blocks.
You're going to fix our rebound, too, because the first half rebound in Game 1, Nets were dominating us on the boards. I don't know what the exact tallies were, but at one point it was just a lot to a little, and they were getting a lot of second chance points, that's going to be huge tonight. I think Rob Williams coming back to it is going to be huge for that. Probably is the best rebounder on our team. So
yeah, I would agree.
Coming back tonight, being a better matchup at least on the glass for DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah.
Because he was kind of eaten up inside DeAndre Jordan in games 1 and 2, especially Game 2, the first half. So I think that's going to be key. And I got the Celtics tonight. So. All
right. Yeah, I'll go Nets by 6 tonight. I'll take the Celtics in Game 4. I think Kevin Durant will be on. I see him going for 35, and I think it'll be tougher to stop him. He can't have 3 bad games in a row.
5-point game. We'll see what happens. I don't know if it's going to be tonight or Monday night, but the Celtics are going to take one.
I think it's all you want.
Celtics 3-1 coming out of Brooklyn. I don't know which one, but
yeah, I think you just want one game. I think that's the Celtics' goal, obviously. So
you just got to steal and play for both, but
that's what you want at the end of the day. I want them to play hard.
Taking one.
And obviously, I think Robert Williams is the X factor, so I wouldn't be surprised tonight we were to win just because he brings an extra spark off the bench. Which they could play him light. 10 minutes, I think I would play 10 minutes.
I'd rather have him play like 10 hard minutes spread out than 24.
It'll be like a 4-4 and 2 minutes stint, probably. 4 minutes in the first quarter, maybe 3 minutes in the first quarter, 2 minutes in the second quarter, and then 3 and 2 again. That's probably what they're going to do. That's what I would do if I was a coach.
Yeah, I want to be careful with him. If we lose this game and say we come out of Brooklyn and go 2-2, then I definitely want to come back and a little bit more, get some more minutes. But for now, I don't think he needs to come back for more than 15 minutes tonight, at least, just to let him ease back into things and keep the team rolling. So.
Yeah, and I think if he has a max of 24, that means he probably is feeling at least good if they give it that high of a max. That's half the game.
Go, yeah.
It's half the game, 24 minutes.
That's only, not even 10 less minutes than he would play.
Usually, he plays about 35.
Yeah,
probably around 35. So, yeah, pretty interesting. It's going to play 2 quarters rather than 3, but still good. Anyways, that's our Celtics talk. I'll be back in the rest of the episode to cover some other things. Probably some Clippers and Northeastern baseball.
My segment. Got a big Pete Frady's ALS strikeout game at Fenway tonight. BC baseball versus Virginia Tech. So we do got to wrap things up.
Yeah, I'll be back on in a few minutes. I'll just start. I'll keep this running, so I'll pause it and then I'll keep it going with the same recording. But thank you guys for listening to our Celtics segment. I'll be back on in a few.
See you guys next week.
And now to continue the rest of the episode, I have Paul from South Boston calling in. He's going to be a guest. He called in last week. Unfortunately, he didn't record. Could have him come in right now, talk about some of the same things as we did last week, like Jerry York's retirement. Some things that didn't record last week I wanted to touch up on now, just since we had a great conversation last week. So here he is, Paul from Southie. How are we doing?
Joe, we're doing well. How about yourself?
Not bad. Thank you for calling in again. I had to do the Paul from Southie again because of Tommy G. Make him like one of those 98.5 calls that he always does.
Yeah.
But thanks for calling in, Dad. Anyways, we can start off with the Red Sox. Obviously, the pitching we talked about last week, the starting pitching wasn't that bad, being this season. It's really the bullpen, which has been an issue. The starting pitching hasn't been elite, but it's been good enough. What do you think, though? You think the Red Sox, obviously Garrett Whitlock's pitching very well right now. He was 9 up, 9 down in the first 3 innings against the Rays. What do you think, though? You think Garrett Whitlock should have a foundation, be a founding piece in the rotation, or do you think he should go back to the bullpen after today?
It's a really good question because I think that'll be decided by whatever their greatest need is. I mean, it's amazing he can be successful as a starter if that's the case, and as a closer. We both know how hard it is to get a great closer, but if it turns out that the starting pitcher needs a solid middle of the rotation guy, you're probably better off to keep him in the rotation. But ideally, he'd probably be a better closer because we could use him almost every day. But it depends on what their greatest need is, in my opinion, Joe.
Absolutely. No, I get that for sure. And that's the thing with the Red Sox, though, right now is obviously bullpen, you need pitching to win games, and that's been a struggle for us right now is the later innings. Obviously, we haven't had, great starts from Nate Eovaldi. Nate Eovaldi's been all right, but hasn't really been elite yet. Obviously, Chris Sale being hurt doesn't help. Losing him again for the 3rd straight year, he missed opening day. Where do you think the Red Sox go from here? Do you think it's going to start with hitting? Do you think the pitching's got to get better? Obviously, Xander Bogaerts has hit well this year, hitting .377. Rafael Devers has 3 home runs in the year. He's been hitting well, but guys like Kike Hernandez, JD Martinez, they've both struggled early on. So what do you think? You think the Red Sox hitting? You think that'll get going? Are you confident in those 2 guys, Kike and JD?
Yeah, I think everybody goes through a slump now and then. I think JD probably starts off pretty slow. I know he's been kind of slow in spring training. Sometimes it takes the weather to get a little warmer before the bats get hot. But we also what Kike did in the playoffs last year, which is an incredible
yeah, he did pressure. A lot.
And the same thing with JD Martinez. I mean, he's a traditional 300 hitter. So I think the bats are going to come around. And, I always think that pitching will dictate how far we'll go. So, we're getting Sale back in June. I think Paxton the same time.
Yep.
But Michael Walker so far.
Michael Walker's been great.
Great pickup by the Sox. I mean, he's had 2 or 3 good outings.
Yeah, he's been really good. So speaking about the Red Sox, obviously, they've been, I think they're about 500 right now in the season, right? They're 7-6 now, just a game over.
Yeah, I think that's right.
7-6. Wander Franco last night, 2 home runs. I'm a big fan of him. What a hitter he is, huh?
He looks like the next superstar. I can't believe he just turned 21 a couple months ago. He's certainly become like the next Mike Trout in a way. I mean,
yeah.
He's got power, he's got speed, he's got average. He's hitting probably close to 400.
386 right now. 2 home runs last night, obviously. Came up to the plate in the bottom of the 9th with the Rays down 1 run. Bases juiced, 2 outs. Matt Barnes came in, got the big out. I'm happy to see him come out in a big situation. The Red Sox give him some more confidence since obviously the beginning of the year he hasn't been pitching in any big situations. It's been 5th and 6th and 7th innings.
No, that was a huge high leverage, obviously, situation for Barnes to come in. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat.
Absolutely.
Game on the line, and Barnes got it done with good glove by Trevor Story.
Yeah, that was huge. We needed that. Beating the Rays last night, Friday night to start the series, that was huge. And as I said, the Red Sox bullpen needs help, but with how great Garrett Whitlock's pitching today, his first 6 batters, he had 5 strikeouts and a pop-out. He was 9 up, 9 down. Obviously, if he keeps pitching this well, the Red Sox will use him in the rotation. That's just another part of the bullpen that we'll need to find. We'll need to find someone in the bullpen to step up, and that could be Matt Barnes. He had a big out yesterday to get that third out in the 9th inning. So maybe Barnes will resume being the closer, or at least we'll have more confidence in him to be, so that Whitlock can stay in the rotation. You think that's possible, right?
I think it's very possible, especially I think Cora's been very pleased with Robles.
Yeah, Robles, yep.
He's pitched very well. He's got gas. He's gotten some big outs in some key spots. And the other guy, Jake Diekman, I think his name is, the lefty.
Yep. Yeah.
He's been in some high average spots as well. So, if these guys come around and they show some consistency, I think we're going to be fine, and we should be there at the end.
Definitely. So obviously now the Red Sox have some COVID issues. Alex Cora had COVID. Vasquez, Plawecki, Arauz had COVID within the last week or so. And now this Monday night they go to Toronto, which obviously you can't play if you don't have the vaccine in Toronto. So we won't have Houck because he isn't vaccinated. So maybe Whitlock will have another chance to start later next week, maybe next Wednesday.
Yeah, I think that's the plan I heard, because there might be some other guys that we don't know about that haven't been vaccinated that they won't let them play.
Yep.
That could change the lineup considerably.
Definitely. Obviously, another piece of the Red Sox that needs to get better is the leadoff hitter, which Kike Finhouse fell in the lineup to the 5th/6th spot. I think it's a good thing that he's not the leadoff hitter anymore. You can't have a guy batting 180 leading off. He was never a great leadoff hitter. He just got hot in the playoffs last year, was a 240 hitter for the whole season in 2021. Doesn't warrant, how great he was in the playoffs, doesn't warrant him being an automatic out like he is right now. Like, we start every game with an out. You might as well start every game. Don't even let him get on the plane, just start the game with an out is how I feel. I think it's probably a good thing he's dropped in the lineup. I think the Sox, needed to make a change there. And obviously Trevor Story hasn't hit great. He's hitting 220, but it's at least a little better than 180.
No, I think Story's starting to pick it up a bit, but I think this happened to Kike already earlier in the year. I think Cora moved him down maybe a couple games after opening day, and he got like 3 hits the next day. So it's probably good for hitters to drop him down in the lineup sometimes.
Definitely. And now one more thing I want to talk about. So obviously you're a big Xander Bogaerts guy. Had a first weekend or two, first series or two, he was struggling. Now he's hitting 377 on the season. He's gotten hot. Speaking of hot hitters, though, Jackie Bradley over the last 4 or 5 games has been very hot. He's hit 231 on the season, so obviously it's not great. But in that Blue Jays game, at one point he was 2 for 2, and his average when I went on Wednesday night was 276 on the season. Now obviously he struggled on Thursday. I think he went 0 of 3, and then yesterday, I'm not sure. I don't think he had a hit in yesterday's game either. Now he's down to 231, but right now he's a better batting average than Trevor Story, Kike Hernandez, Bobby Dalbec, and Christian Vasquez. And I know you like Bradley's defense, so you think it's fine keeping him in the lineup even he's hitting 230.
Yeah, he's a streaky hitter. I mean, we've seen him when he first came up. I mean, I think he had like a 25-game hitting streak at one time, and he's done it maybe...
In 2017 he did, 2016, I believe.
His career, he's had some lengthy hitting streaks, but I think our lineup is good enough to carry... if he hits like 250, I'd take that every day of the week.
Definitely. So now moving on from the Red Sox, we'll talk a little bit about BC hockey. Obviously, Jerry York retired a week and a half ago. I honestly, we talked about it a ton last week. I talked a lot about how great of a guy he was. Honestly, he was a legend. Obviously, everyone knows how great of a hockey coach he is. But walking around BC's campus and being able to say hi to him was always a pleasure. So obviously, he's a Hall of Fame head coach, 76 years old. The winningest coach in NCAA history, had the most wins, was at BC for 28 years, came in 1994 after winning the national championship with Bowling Green, and then came here to BC. Obviously, gave BC 4 national titles. A lot of bean pots. He finished his career with 1,123 wins, 41 NCAA tournament wins. How do you feel about Jerry York's retirement?
Well, I was kind of surprised. I thought he was going to stick around for another year, even though the rumors had swirled during the year because of that maybe 10-game losing streak. Maybe it was time to him to hang him up. But what a career. I mean, on and off the ice, everyone said what a class guy and how successful he was. And I know he's had some great players that he was able to recruit.
Yep.
But 28 years has gone by too fast because every year, once he got established, back at BC, I mean, he seemed like he had us in the the Frozen Four tournament like almost a record number of times. So,
41 wins.
Yeah, I mean, we're definitely going to miss that excitement at the end of the season. Every year, waiting for the seedings to come out, and York always had us right there.
Yeah, he was great. And obviously, I know you're a big BC hockey fan my whole life. You've always been a huge fan. So you've seen guys like Cam Atkinson, Alex Tuck, Johnny Gaudreau, Thatcher Demko. BC's had so many legends, so many great hockey players. Colin White, Noah Hannafin, so many guys. Miles Wood, that's another one. So many guys went to BC that were great players in the NHL, and that just is a testament to how great a recruiter Jerry York is. So obviously losing him is a big loss. I know you did ask last week who I think could replace him. I think it'll be someone within the system already, kind of like what Northeastern did with Jerry Keefe, where Jerry Keefe was the assistant coach for years, and then once Jim Madigan got promoted to be the Northeastern athletic director, Keefe came in. So you see someone coming off, someone in the BC hockey family becoming the new head coach, all right?
That was my initial reaction. But then I read during the week of his retirement that Pat Kraft, the AD, was going to hire a committee to go nationwide and look for somebody, and possibly an established young guy like Carvel at UMass, who just won the championship.
Everyone wants him.
And everybody wants the guy from Connecticut because they turn programs around to like national contenders. So originally, I agree. I thought it was going to be one of his staff maybe, but now I'm not so sure. So maybe they're going to go out and get the best guy that they can to, get the program back to, Frozen Four status. Yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. So with him retiring, I read this quote last week. I'll read it again. ESPN's Greg Wyshynski said, this is Jerry York's quote. He said, I've been thinking about the possibility of retiring during the past several weeks. It just seemed to be the right time to do so. Obviously, his loss is huge, but like you said, maybe that committee will find someone like UConn's head coach. UConn had a great season. They beat Northeastern in the Hockey East tournament pretty handily, too, 4-1, which was nuts. I was at that game, big loss. Jerry York, 5-time Coach of the Year in the Hockey East, U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame inductee in 2020, and ended his career, obviously, with 41 NCAA wins. So it's going to be hard to replace him. It's just about finding the right coach. You can't replace Jerry York. You just have to find someone that can come in and try to step in and try to create half of the success he did, because it's going to be really hard to get. He had 4 national championships at BC, correct? Yes, he started it all off in 2001, and then he had the 3 and 5 years. And another guy I should mention is Chris Kreider of the Rangers. I believe he scored his 51st goal. Yep. Yeah. BC player. I mean, if you were a good high school player, who would want to come to BC and play hockey? York had a very exciting, fast team that every time they took possession of the puck in like the neutral zone, it seemed to be like a fast break to the net. Mm-hmm. They were never that big or never really too physical, but they always could take the puck and create like a mismatch going forward, like on a fast break. And that's why I think he recruited a lot of the great talent. They all wanted to come here. Yep, absolutely. And speaking of BC talent, I know you're the biggest Marc McLaughlin fan, captain of BC's hockey team for the last 2 years. He was a captain his junior year and senior year. Has 3 goals right now for the Bruins in 9 games. He's played great. What have you seen out of him right now during his short time with the Bruins so far? In his first game, when he scored his first goal, my phone lit up that night because everybody knows I'm a big Marc McLaughlin fan. I was so happy and excited, but bigger than that is what Jack Edwards, the Bruins announcer, said, that he was very impressed with his work ethic, and Bruins management, especially Cassidy, is very pleased with how hard he works and his skills. He's shown he can keep up with the NHL thus far, but the physicality. Very happy with how well he's done thus far. Definitely, he's shooting well, playing physical too. He's a big guy. He has his good height. He's about 6'2", 6'3", right? Yeah, he might be 6'4". They might have listed at 6'4", but he's a big kid. So obviously coming in, he's going to hit into the boards, but he's been playing really well. Scored some big goals, 3 goals now, which is great. 3 goals in 9 games. That's a third of the games he's played in. He scores in, which is great. And I know you're the biggest fan of him, so hopefully he keeps staying hot. Hopefully he keeps getting shots. He's played 9 games, so it's not just a 1-game stint. Now he's been actually a big part of the rotation in the third line, fourth line. Yeah, I hope he gets some valuable minutes. I think the playoffs are going to start like in a week or so. I think the Bruins might have a game or 2 left, so I hope he's earned a spot, to get some more playing time. And again, you said he scored 3 goals in 9 games. That's really good for a young kid like a rookie like him.
Definitely. That's your favorite player. Just like, for me, I love Sam Colangelo on Northeastern and, Jordan Harris and Ada McDonough. Gunnawagan Fontaine. You love Gunnawagan.
Yes, I do. Yeah, I like Northeastern too. But Mark being the captain of BC, I know how hard he must have worked, again, on and off the ice. To be a captain for York for 2 years says a lot about the character of the young man.
Definitely. So now moving on from the BC talk, BC hockey, moving to BC basketball really quick. Earl Grant first year, won 2 ACC tournament games. Obviously lost a tough one at the end to U Miami in the quarterfinals, but they were right there in it. They could have won that and then played Duke in the semifinals, which would have been nuts. What did you see out of Earl Grant in his first year? You have a positive outlook, correct?
Amazing for a first-year coach to come into a program that struggled in the ACC for years. I mean, you know how I felt about Jim Christian, another class guy and a real good coach, but it probably took him 5 years to win 5 games in the conference. I mean, he had the big upset at Duke a few years ago, but for Earl Grant to come in and win, I think, 7 games in the ACC, even though the ACC was down for a big part of the year, but if you saw, Carolina went all the way to the final.
Yep.
So I was very impressed with Grant. He got the most out of his talent, and I'm glad to hear that Langford's coming back because there was talk he was going to leave. Mm-hmm. So maybe a couple of good recruits, and this team could be right in the mix of the ACC next year. Yeah,
Makai Langford will be returning for his grad year, another year, 1 more year of eligibility. Obviously now losing some guys to the portal. Johnny Thompson hit the portal, and Brevin Galloway also hit the portal for 1 more year. I think he got another grad year as well. But they got guys coming in like Jalen Hand, Prince of Ligbay. Obviously, Jaden Zachary had a big year. At point guards, we're having Zachary back with DeMar Langford, Makai Ashton Langford. It's going to be a big season, I think. Hopefully win 10 ACC games next year, and then who knows how many the year after. I think they just got to keep building, which you would agree with.
Exactly.
Definitely, got to keep building. That's important. Moving now on from BC hockey, now to BC basketball, now to BC football really quick. BC football this coming season. This will be Jeff Havley's 3rd season, correct? 2nd season.
Yeah.
Third season. Third season. Which is tough because time got away from us, missing a whole year because of COVID. I was thinking it was his 2nd season because it would have been our 2nd season seeing him in person from our season tickets. But anyways, 3rd season coming in. Zay Flowers returning for his senior year. Phil Jurkovec. What are you looking to see out of them this year?
Well, I guess they brought in a new offensive coordinator, the kid, the tight end coach from Notre Dame, McNulty, and he claims he's going to open the offense up more, which means to me he's going to try to get Zay and playmakers like Zay the ball in the open field. Mm-hmm. So I expect, even though their offense really never struggled, I mean, even with Grossell, I think they still move the ball well, but you figure a healthy Phil Jurkovec, and they got a good tight end coming in to replace the one that the draft.
We lost Trey Barry to the draft.
Yeah, Trey Barry. But Flowers, and we got Mike Tomlin's son at wide up now to add some depth.
Dino Tomlin.
Dino Tomlin. So I expect the offense to move the ball and maybe be a little bit more exciting, although we're very happy running the ball. The offensive line, of course, we're going to lose some studs, probably a first rounder in Zion Johnson. Mike Vrabel's son Tyler's going to go high in the draft as well. But we know Trapillo from BC High is going to step in. And I think there's Mahogany's returning.
Yep.
Offensive line. So I expect the offense to do well. The defense, I can't remember who they lost at this point, but it's all about pressure to me. So they're going to have to, bring it with Sheeta Salah started out really good last year till he got hurt. Mm-hmm. Those good quickness off the line. But I think they got some guys in the secondary returning. So all in all, I expect them to, hopefully go maybe 7-5, 8-4, and maybe make a decent bowl game come New Year's Day.
Yeah, absolutely. Zay Flowers returning for his senior year. Phil Jurkovec returning for his senior year. Defensively, we did lose Brandon Sebastian. He declared for the draft. We get Jason Matry coming back and Elijah Jones. So a starting corner and a starting safety, both coming back. That'll be huge to build around. Secondly, we have Marcus Valdez returning for another year, which is great. Obviously lost Grossell, no longer your backup quarterback, but you have Emmett Moorhead coming in, which is huge. I know we're big fans of him. We saw him play a little bit in the spring practice we went to. about a month ago now with Gio with the Gridiron Club. I went to a spring game, which I covered a little bit last week. Jay McGillis, spring game was 2 weeks ago now. Former BC defensive back who died from leukemia. They have a memorial game from every single year. It's a spring game. He died in 1992. So I went to that. Phil Jurkovec played well, threw a touchdown to running back Xavier Coleman, who had a great game. Zay didn't really play at all, except he caught a couple punts. Fair caught them. And ate some fruit snacks on the sidelines, kind of like A.J. Dillon does with his Mott's applesauce. Evan Moorhead loved throwing the ball to Tajee Johnson. Targeted him a ton. Obviously, second-team wideout, second-team quarterback, but good to see them get some reps. And that team, Boston, which was led by Phil Jurkovec, led by the first team. It was first-team offense with the first-team second-team defense it was, versus the first-team defense and the second-team offense, which was Team Eagles. So 22-10, Team Boston, who had the first-team offense, second-team defense, beat the Team Eagles, which was the first-team defense and the second-team offense. So it was a good game to be at. Happy to see the boys get out there and get some work in. Obviously, like you said, we're losing Zion Johnson. We will be losing Alec Lindstrom, Tyler Vrabel, and Ben Petrula. 4 big offensive linemen. They've been starting now for 2 years at least together. So losing those four guys to the draft will be tough, but I'm sure, like you said, Ozzie Trapilla will step up. Mahogany will step up. I'm sure there's some other recruits coming in. So I think we'll be all set in the offensive line, don't you?
Yeah, we seem to have a history of putting a lot of guys in the pros from the offensive line. I mean, a couple we met last year. Remember Gosda Cherelis and Zach Kauskas and went to BC. I played for the Cleveland Browns for a few years, so since I've been following BC football for about 40 years, they've always had offensive linemen come out of that program and do very well. We even know the offensive line coach, Dave DiGiulio, who coached with Belichick at New England for a Super Bowl and Coughlin and the Giants in the Super Bowl. So I think the offensive line is going to be in good hands.
Definitely. It was a pleasure talking to Coach D. He was a big fan of us and said, hey, stay in touch. Don't be strange to say hello when we see him. So I haven't seen him on campus yet. Hopefully I will. But he was with the Giants also in 2020. So had a little bit of time with Joe Judge in the staff. So it was cool being able to talk to him about Daniel Jones. Speaking of the Giants, the draft is coming up Thursday. The Giants are the 5th and 7th pick. What are you looking for in the draft? I hope we go offensive line at 5, Kamakwanu, and at 7, I want Sauce Gardner, lockdown corner from Cincinnati. What do you think the Giants got to do in the draft at 5 and 7?
Well, the textbook would tell you they should go 1 offense, 1 defense. I agree with you, Sauce Gardner, but I'm hearing he might be gone before pick 5. If that's the case, I have no problem with like one of those edge rushes. The kid, was it Thibodeau from Oregon?
Yeah.
But I'm maybe mixed things about him. So I would take one of those, maybe Evan Neal, the offensive lineman.
Yep, Alabama.
Oh, I'm thinking 1 offense, 1 defense. The Giants certainly have some holes to fill. So it wouldn't surprise me if they try to strengthen, two weaknesses. The offensive line has been a weakness for years, and every team could use an edge rusher or a good pass rusher. So that's what I'm expecting them to do. I don't expect any blockbuster trades. Although I'm reading now with the New York papers that after the draft, expect Bradbury to go. And now just recently you're hearing Kadarius Toney is showing by not showing up to the camp this last week. He's probably on the trading block. So it could lead to, maybe another draft pick or some talent getting rid of him as well.
Definitely. I think you get a 2nd-round pick for him. Obviously a very good player, very big playability, can make people mix and match and juke everyone. But the issue is he doesn't stay in the field. He had an ankle injury last year, a quad injury, had COVID twice, had a shoulder injury, a hand injury. He had a million injuries. I mean, I don't know if he had a hand injury, but realistically he did with the amount of injuries he had. He definitely had an ankle one, had a quad one, had COVID twice, and I think he even had one other one. Like, remember, like in training camp last year, his shoe or whatever came off, and he was playing with one shoe, and his ankle or something, he might have, messed up a little bit. I wouldn't mind trading him. He hasn't showed up to any of the voluntary off-season workouts. Obviously, it's not the biggest deal in the world, missing those since they're voluntary, but you have a new first-year head coach, new offensive system, and obviously Daniel Jones needs more chemistry with the players that are around him since a lot of guys have been hurt over the last 2 or 3 years. They haven't given him much time to really gel with any of the receivers since everyone's hurt, and when they do play, they're dropping balls. So I do think he is on his way out. I would not mind trading Kadarius Toney for 2nd-round pick. He doesn't want to stay on the field, and he looks for ways to be hurt. He really does. He looks for ways to not be on the field. I do not mind trading him. I hope we do for a 2nd-round pick.
I think it's a quick move, but I expect them to do. I agree. I think they're going to move him. I can see him developing into like Evan Engram. I mean, all-pro talent, can make a Pro Bowl, but yet you remember him mostly for dropping a couple of big balls and always being injured.
Yep.
We don't need guys like that. So I think you go back to the drawing board and try somebody new.
Absolutely. And so one more thing about the Giants, 5th and 7th pick, we said we hope we go offensive line. I would take Neal or Aquanu. And then at 7, I would love Sauce Gardner. If not, maybe another pass rusher. I know Kayvon Thibodeau, they say, has personality issues that the Giants do not like, so who knows if we would draft him. Kadarius Toney, I'd love a second-round pick for. One more thing, Daniel Jones. You're the biggest Daniel Jones fan. I'm the second biggest Daniel Jones fan. You made me a big fan of him. I have the most confidence in him out of any player on the Giants. What do you think about Daniel Jones? I know everyone critiques him. How do you feel about him?
I've been a big fan from day one. I know he struggled with the turnovers, which is very common with the young quarterback. But we saw his numbers when his rookie year. He probably finished in the top 5 of Rookie of the Year voting because
he was number 2. He fell behind Kyler Murray, Murray had 22 touchdowns, mind you, in 16 games, 16 starts. Daniel Jones had 24 touchdowns in 12 games, 4 less games with 2 more touchdowns. But Kyler won Rookie of the Year, which is ridiculous. But I'm sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
Right. No, I see a lot of talent in Daniel Jones. I mean, I'm impressed with his arm. He can throw the deep ball. He can throw the touch pass in the flat. You saw him run. Was it last year? He ran like 90 yards, almost as fast as any running back in the NFL like that year.
The fastest quarterback run, 22.8 miles an hour, or 22.5 miles an hour. It's nuts.
He's got the legs, and I think he's got the head. So, he cut down his turnovers. And remember, Mara, the owner, said it best. He said, we've given this kid every reason to fail. 4 different offensive coordinators.
Third head coach.
Right, 3 or 4 different head coaches. Receivers that are known for dropping balls. I mean, I love Darius Slayton, but he's dropped a couple of balls. Ingram, all-pro talent, dropped a couple of big balls that games turned around, especially that Philadelphia game on like a Monday or Thursday night. He catches that ball, we win the game.
Yep.
So he's been plagued by that, and of course, I don't need to mention again the offensive line woes. So you give this kid an offensive line. He's got Saquon Barkley, who we both love as a great back. Guys that can hold the ball. I think he's going to explode with some major numbers, and I hope it's this year. And I often reference when we talk about Jones being in Patriot Nation. They drafted Jim Plunkett probably 50 years ago now out of Stanford, number 1 quarterback, and he was run out of town because they couldn't get over the hump and win. But it was because he didn't have talent around him. So what do? They blockbuster trade him to the Raiders, and he wins 2 Super Bowls. I see the same thing happen to Jones if the Giants don't give him time. Hopefully this year with the weapons. So I believe in Daniel Jones, and he's always the first one at training camp.
Yep.
He's all practice and the last one to leave. Habits of Tom Brady there. So let's give this kid another try, and I expect big numbers from him this year.
Me too. And that's the thing. 4th offensive coordinator, 3rd head coach. The worst offensive line in the league, the 2nd worst rated one, I believe. But if you look at it, I don't think the Giants have a worse offensive line than the Texans or the Seahawks. I mean, none of them have a good line, don't get me wrong. But I think Giants have the worst line just based off of what I've seen of the other 2. And then when I'm watching Giants games, Daniel Jones has 0 time to throw. Factor in the play calling has been awful. Jason Garrett struggled. Obviously got worse when Jason Garrett left. Freddie Kitchens struggles with it. Joe Judge, being a special teams head coach, did not do great with Daniel Jones. Obviously, Daniel Jones did a lot better with Pat Shurmur's rookie year, threw 24 touchdowns with them. So I think now having an offensive-minded head coach and Brian Daboll, I think Daniel Jones will have a big year. Obviously, me and you are huge fans of Daniel Jones. I don't think any quarterback, no matter who you have, put any of them in that Giants system, none of them are going to succeed. No one would succeed in the Giants system with the weapons always being hurt, and when they're playing, they're dropping balls. And secondly, you look at what Daniel Jones had around him for the coaching. He's going now to his 3rd head coach and 4th offensive coordinator. Give Daniel Jones time. Give Saquon Barkley time. Give them some room to throw, room to run. This Giants team will be dangerous. I have the most confidence in both of those guys, and they're the 2 most doubted guys on the Giants. Everyone is so down on both of them, and I know me and you have not with it at all with our confidence. We are still up on both of them. We're huge. We're huge fans.
I'm glad they're on my team, and I love Daboll coming in. I mean, he got to work with Josh Allen for a couple of years, and everybody loves Josh Allen now. He's an MVP candidate. He took him to a play away from the Super Bowl, maybe. I mean, Kansas City coming back with 14 seconds left. I mean, he's a stud, Josh Allen, and you got to give Daboll a lot of credit, for making him the player he is today. He can do the same thing with Daniel Jones.
Definitely. I'm convinced, too. I'm a huge Daniel Jones guy, as you are, and everyone that is a Daniel Jones hater, non-believer, people that love to criticize him because he was the sixth pick, which I'll say this once again. I know everyone talks about how bad of a GM Dave Gettleman was, which he failed in a lot of regards, but he drafted Daniel Jones at 6, Saquon at 2, and if I could go back and do both those drafts, I'm taking both those guys again, except I would actually build around them, give them the offensive line so they could succeed. Because right now people say how bad both of them are, but they just do not have the time or the room to succeed in this system. I love both those draft picks. I think Dave Gettleman drilled both of those draft picks, and I know you do as well. I love both those draft picks. He failed, though, in protecting them and giving them something around them to succeed. That was the issue.
He's tried. He did try. Ultimately,
Nate Solder, he tried.
Failed. But, he brought in a lot of different offensive linemen. We had that one guy come in last year that looked like a pretty good center, and he ended up retiring before training camp ended.
Jonathan Harrison it was, yes.
Andrew Thomas looks like a good pick.
He's great.
Eric Flowers maybe was, a top pick, and he didn't get it done. But, he brought in Solder, who came, highly regarded from the Patriots. But he tried, but he just hit and miss. Too many swings and misses.
Yep. Absolutely. I know me and you are the biggest Daniel Jones guys, and I would take Daniel Jones any day of the week. As you said, he's in every single meeting, every single practice. That guy's been there now every single day in the offseason at 5 a.m., 6 a.m. working. There's nobody that wants to succeed more than him in the NFL. I don't care what anybody says. I'm the biggest Daniel Jones supporter as you are, and I can't wait to see him succeed this year because everyone that is criticizing him, every non-believer and hater, they better hope Daniel Jones and the Giants don't figure this out because everyone, Colin Cowherd, Stephen A. Smith, Max Kellerman, everyone on these national broadcasts, I can keep going, Dan Orlovsky, Ryan Clark, who said last year, Daniel Jones, a guy we know who can't play the game of football. Every single one of these people will be proven wrong this season by Daniel Jones. Everyone. And I can't wait for it. I can't wait.
But because, if you start, I agree with you 100%, but Bill Parcells said it best. If you start listening to those people like fans that don't play the game, you end up sitting with them. We know what Daniel Jones can do. And I often reference this. Cincinnati Bengals 2 years ago finished with 2 wins, and then 2 years later they're in the Super Bowl and lose by a field goal. So we're in a decent division. We can go from bottom to top in 1 year, and I'm hoping this is the year.
Definitely, and factoring in the Bengals. Last year, 2 years ago now, the 2020 season, they had the first pick, obviously took Joe Burrow. In the 2020 season, they had 4 wins and held the 5th pick, which they took Jamar Chase in the 2021 NFL draft. This year, the Giants in the 2021 season had 4 wins, just like the Bengals in 2020, and have the 5th pick, just like the Bengals did in 2021. We're in the same position as they were with a really bad offensive line. And they got things figured out very quickly. Obviously, their offensive line is not great at all, but they made it work enough with that offensive system, letting Burrow get the ball out quick. Hopefully, the Giants figure things out and get things going. Really quick, want to move on to the Celtics. Obviously, they're up 2-0 against the Nets. What are your thoughts on the series so far?
I was amazed with the 17-point comeback the other night. I think we're the better team than Brooklyn, but one of your callers last week did make a good point about if it's a close game, he was worried about Brooklyn maybe having, better clutch players at the time. But we certainly showed some mettle coming back from 17. I think the series is ours now. I think we split in Brooklyn, and we can probably win it in no more than 6 right now. The Celtics are playing with a lot of confidence. I don't know how they've bottled up Durant so well. And I don't think we're in Kyrie's head, because he scored like 39 points and probably 18 in the fourth quarter in Game 1. But it was amazing to see us put a lasso around them in Game 2. They get like 65 first half points and then maybe less than 40 in the second half.
They only like 10 points in the fourth quarter, something nuts.
With the defense, I see it most of the year. Marcus Smart obviously winning the award. I give Robert Williams a lot of credit for the year too, turning this team around since January. We've probably had the best defensive team in the NBA. I think the defense can carry us, but I love the fact that I wasn't a big Tatum fan, but he's passing the ball so much more now and making other guys show what they can do. So that's a sign of a superstar. You're making the players around you better. He sees the open man, whether it's Brown, whether it's Smart, whether it's Pritchett, whether it's Tice, and everyone's shooting a little better. So I expect the Celtics to wrap it up in 6.
Yeah, I mean, they've been looking great. And I was talking to a Bills fan last night about you really know you're a superstar when you're elevating the guys around you. So Josh Allen took Stephon Diggs, who was a good wide receiver, and made him an elite wide receiver. He took an unknown tight end last year in Dawson Knox, who was never good in his first 2 years, and made him a superstar tight end, at one point. I know he's not a superstar tight end, overall, but he had a really good year. He's an elite tight end, I would say, not a superstar. And then also took Gabriel Davis, a wide receiver 4 that no one really knew about, and threw him 3 or 4 touchdowns in that Kansas City Chiefs playoffs game. So just like you said, you have to elevate the guys around you to be a superstar. And that's a sign of being a superstar, is elevating guys and making them better players because of how good you are, like LeBron James has always done, And that's when you know. And the Celtics right now are up 30-25 after the first quarter. Robert Williams has logged in 4 minutes in the first quarter, which is great. Hasn't scored, actually hasn't logged a rebound or anything so far. But the Celtics have been led by Tatum. He's got 12 points so far through a quarter and 2 minutes. And Bruce Brown has 10 minutes for the Brooklyn Nets. Kyrie has 8 points on 3 of 7 shooting. And Kevin Durant's got 5 points on 2 of 2 shooting. So Celtics looking good so far. You see the Celtics winning in 6, huh?
I do. I figure they split in Brooklyn, but I don't expect them to win tonight, Game 3, because if Brooklyn goes down 3-0, they might just tank it for Game 4. But I'm just impressed, and I said that, and I'll say it one more time, that Tatum's made other people around him better, and that's a sign of a superstar. I don't expect Robert Williams to play that much tonight, but when he's in the game, he certainly controls the paint. I mean, that guy blocked more shots. He seemed to have an alley-oop during the season. Like every game he had a couple. So, I mean, the offense was gelling. I give the coach, Ime, a lot of credit because, for some reason Stevens couldn't get it done. And it's basically the same cast, although Robert Williams is a much better player now than he was, a year or 2 ago.
Yeah.
Peyton Pritchett's come off the bench. Grant Williams seems to be a better player. I mean, he's shooting better he has one of the highest percentages from three-point land.
Like Luke Kennard. Luke Kennard's got the highest in the NBA, me and the Clippers.
Right, exactly. So, I figure a split in Brooklyn and we wrap it up in 6. And we got good news, not that we never want anyone to get hurt, but having Middleton out, Chris Middleton for the Bucks, that's certainly going to help the Celtics if they get by the Nets and the Bucks take down the Bulls.
Yep.
No Middleton is huge. It's like having no Jaylen Brown for us.
Yeah, Middleton's great. So hopefully we'll see how things work out there. Obviously things didn't work out with me and the Clippers this year, but what do you think about the Clippers? What do I always say?
Dangerous. They're dogs, man. They seem to battle every possession. I mean, if Paul George plays that last play-in game, there's no question they would have won.
Definitely. Oh, they're dogs. They wouldn't even beat the Suns now with Devin Book being hurt. They definitely would have beaten the Suns, I think, honestly, in 6 games.
Yeah, I give
He's got a
Tyrone
hamstring injury.
credit. That team, I mean, they must have had more comebacks down like 20-plus points than anybody I can remember.
Yep.
They battle every possession. They never quit in a game, and they seem to come back every time they're down.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They actually had 13 wins, comeback wins, when trailing by, I think, 12 or more points, which is nuts. And they had 2 comeback wins, one down by 30 and one down by 35 at one point in the season. They won both of those games. They finished the regular season 42-40, with only 20 games or so of Paul George, no games of Kawhi Leonard, only like 5 games of Norman Powell. It's just a testament to how good their role players are. They have the best depth in the NBA. Luke Kennard, Terrence Mann, I'm a big fan of. Reggie Jackson, BC guy.
Love it.
Isaiah Hartenstein, Amir Coffey, Nick Batum. They're just all dogs. That whole team. The whole team's all dogs. I've never seen a team, like you said, Tyronn Lue gets every one of those guys going. I've never seen a team hustle as much as that team did in the last year or two. And I'm really excited to see how good they are next year, which Sam Presti, very good Oklahoma City Thunder GM, he said, he's a very smart GM, they have like 20 draft picks in the next 4 years. He said, on paper and in general, he said the LA Clippers have the best roster in the NBA when healthy. He said, I see them winning a championship and I see them winning multiple.
No, I agree. I was very impressed. I watched a lot of their games this year. I give Lou a lot of credit. I mean, no Kawhi for the whole year. No George for as much as he was out. Very impressive.
Definitely, and I'm excited to see what they do in the future. Really quickly, BC baseball in the ALS game at Fenway right now. It's trailing 4-1 right now to Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, another good ACC baseball school. There's a ton in the ACC that are really good. Obviously, you went to the Northeastern BC game. You went to two of them. You went to the Beanpot game, which BC ended up winning the Beanpot against UMass Amherst a couple weeks ago now. What did you see out of BC baseball when you went? You liked the way they played on defense, which I know they've struggled in a lot of games this year. When they played Northeastern, they were elite on defense and pitching.
No, I was very impressed. I love pitching. It's one of my favorite topics in sports. I was shocked at how many guys they brought in that can throw gas in mid-90s. They have a lot of arms.
Definitely. And speaking of pitching, the Red Sox right now have been no-hit through 8 innings against Tampa Bay at 0-0. Whitlock, as he started for the Red Sox, went 4 innings, 1 hit, 7 strikeouts, was elite. It's a 0-0 game. The Red Sox have been no-hit through 8 innings. They got to get something going there, as does BC baseball. They're down 4-1 right now in the top of the 8th. Guy on second for Virginia Tech, so hopefully they get the out. They'll be down 3 runs with 6 at-bats left to go. Hopefully BC baseball can get going. Travis Honeyman's had a great game. He's 2 of 4. And in the first inning, BC was hot. They had an RBI right away. Parker Landwehr had a single to left center, scored Travis Honeyman in the first inning. But now BC baseball's been struggling. They gave up 3 runs in 2 runs in the 6th inning, and then 1 run in the 7th. So 3 runs in the last 2 innings they've given up. They did get out of the 8th inning, though. So 4-1 going into the bottom of the 8th. Hopefully they pull out a win. The Red Sox as well going into the 8th inning. It's a 0-0 game, but they have no hits. So you need hits to win a game, don't you? And the Red Sox have been struggling at the plate as of late in this game.
Okay. All right. Listen, I want to wish you the best of luck with the rest of the show. I want to go in and catch that.
The Celtics. Catch the Celtics. Catch the Red Sox, too.
I will, Joe.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate it.
Good luck with the rest of the show. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Have a good one. Thank you. Bye-bye. Great having my dad call into the show. As I said last week, he's the reason I have my passion for sports. Me and him talk about all the time about pitching being the best job in America, being a starting pitcher. You go once every 5 days, you can make 30, 40 million. And he's the reason I love baseball, the reason I love pitching. So thank you, Dad, for giving me the passion that I have for sports. Without you, I wouldn't, be as big of a sports fanatic as I am. So thank you for that. Speaking of baseball, we were talking about the Red Sox. Obviously, they've been struggling through 8 innings now, 0-0 game. Hopefully they can get a run in, as BC baseball was struggling as well, down 4-1 at the bottom of the 8th. Hopefully they can get something going. They got Luke Gold coming up, projected right now, first-round pick in the draft, MLB draft this coming year. He's coming up to the plate. He's 0-2 in the day, but he's hit 340 on the season. He's been great. Joe Vitrano's been great. He's up next after him, and then Parker Landwehr. 3 guys hitting over 300. Vitrano at 336, and then Landwehr at 312. Virginia Tech, a very good team. Gavin Cross has had a great game. He's 2 of 4 right now, lefty. He's hitting 359. Their lineup is nuts on Virginia Tech. 349, 359, 371, 421, 364, 325, 333, and 281. That's their starting lineup. 9 guys all hitting over 281, which is nuts. They have 8 guys in 300 plus, and then 1 guy at 281, Christian Martin, their second baseman, batting 9th. That's actually nuts how good they are at hitting, and that's the ACC for you in baseball. I mean, just been elite all year. Offensively and overall, which obviously BC's been struggling now, falling to 15-23 on the season. But being in the ACC, it's not easy at all, especially when you're playing the best schools every single game. It's not easy to be in the ACC and try to compete and win, half the games. You win, half of your ACC games, you're elite just because of how good you are and how good the teams are around you that you're playing against. Speaking of college baseball, Northeastern baseball hasn't had a home game in a couple weeks. This coming Tuesday, they'll play UConn at 3. Will be a big game. I'll definitely be there. UConn's been great all year. They're 30-7 on the year, I believe. A top 15 team in the country. Coming to Brookline to play Northeastern. Northeastern struggled yesterday against High Point. They traveled down to North Carolina for an out-of-conference weekend series. Mike Sirota, who I've talked about all year, started off the game, second pitch of the game, moonshot, home run to left field, or center field, his 4th home run of the year. He's hitting 330. He's only a freshman, was drafted 16th round by the Dodgers. I've talked about him a ton. He's had a great season. Look forward to seeing him play again this coming Tuesday. Corey DiLoretto's been out of the lineup now for about a week or two now. Looked like a wrist injury. I was at the Harvard game, the Harvard consolation Beanpot game, which Northeastern won 10-6. Was a big win. Luke Beckstein had a huge home run in that. But it looked like DiLoretto had his wrist taped in that game. He must have had an injury in that Sunday game against Elon on April 10th, which he had a highlight reel catch. It was a Sports Center catch. It was nuts how great of a player he was. He's a great defender and a great hitter. Northeastern misses him in the lineup. With him now being out of the lineup, they've only won 2 games and lost 4. So they're 2-4 without him in the lineup. His father and I talk every single game. Rob DiLoretto's head coach of the Everett football team. Great head coach. Knows so much about the game of football, knows so much about sports in general. Always a pleasure talking with him. Hopefully, Corey's back soon. Northeastern Baseball definitely misses him, and I miss seeing him play. Him and Sirota are my 2 favorite players on the team, so being able to go to games, see both of them play has been a pleasure all year. Hopefully, I can get him on the show at some point to talk Everett football, since they've had, I think he had 9 college commits last year on his team. Now coming into the season, he says they're still loaded with talent. They have a couple guys that committed to BC, which is really cool. So it'd be cool to see him come on the show and talk. Hopefully his son's back in the lineup soon. Hopefully Tuesday. I'd love to see him play again. Northeastern Baseball, as I said, Mike Sirota had a huge home run yesterday. In today's game against High Point, which yesterday was a struggle, they lost 10-4. It was tough. Obviously, Sirota got them going in the first inning. They couldn't get too much going after that. Today, Northeastern's up 11-1 right now in the top of the 9th with 2 outs. Probably going to close the game out at the bottom of the 9th, I'd imagine. Hopefully win the game. 11-1 should be great. Northeastern needed this. Spencer Smith, 3 of 4. He's been so hot of late. I mean, that Harvard game, he had 2 big hits. Max Vieira only at 220 on the year, but he's 2 of 5 today, and it's been very hot over the last 8 games or so. And then Luke Beckstein is 2 of 5. So it's great to see those guys getting going. Ed Jarvis, Mark Walsh's friend, pinch hitting actually currently up at the plate, which is really cool. It's great to see him. I think he's pinch hitting, it says here in the live stats. It'd be great. I know Mark Walsh, shout out Mark Walsh, a legend. He's a big fan of him. So hopefully Jarvis gets a big hit. It'd be great for him to talk to him in class about it. So Northeastern will play Tuesday against UConn. I'll definitely cover that game on Wednesday, which is Wednesday's going to be a big thing, a big night. We're going to be talking about the Celtics since Game 4 is on Monday. Obviously, Game 3 today is on Saturday. And then the NFL Draft will be on Thursday, which I'm going to give my updated mock draft in a second, which I'll do another one on Wednesday as well. One thing I wanted to say, though, was about the Red Sox, was that I went on Wednesday night. Me, Cap Curley, Jacob Curley, my boy, shout out Cap, the legend Mark Walsh, Joey Hosey, stud pitcher on St. Mike's, and his teammate Ozzie, another stud pitcher. We all went to the Red Sox-Blue Jays game, tough loss for the Red Sox. Got to see Ramel Tapia had a big home run. I was actually highlighting him to Mark Walsh before the play, before his at-bat in the first inning or second inning. Pavetta gave him a bad location, and Tapia took it 440 to right field. It was a moonshot. I said to Mark Walsh, this guy's an absolute stud. They just got him from the Rockies, and lo and behold, 5 seconds later, he hits a moonshot home run. I didn't get on video, unfortunately, but it would have been nice. We tried to meet the Blue Jays after the game. Fortunately, they went straight to the bus with all their hoods on and AirPods in and just acted like they didn't see anyone, which was tough. But it was cool being at the game with those guys. Hopefully catch another Red Sox game with them soon. Moving on, NFL Draft. I'll give a quick update to my mock draft. Number 1 overall, Jacksonville Jaguars. I have them taking Aiden Hutchinson still, edge rusher out of Michigan. Dynamic pass rusher like Kayvon Thibodeau. 14 sacks in 13 games this past season. He only had 1 tackle for a loss in the Georgia college football semifinal game. Tough loss in Michigan in that game. He didn't really show up and play too well. But he did have 3 sacks against Ohio State in their second to last regular season game, I think it was, or their last regular season game. It was, yeah, I think it was their last game of the year. He's a beast. He's great. A great pass rusher. Kind of reminds me of a Joey Bosa. I think he's going to go first overall. I didn't change that pick. Detroit Lions, I did have originally Kayvon Thibodeau from Oregon going last week, second overall to them. Updated now, I have Derek Stingley, cornerback out of LSU, going there. I've seen a lot of buzz of him moving up in draft boards. which if after the 2019 season, he's only a freshman, but he had 6 INTs in 2019. That year, LSU won, was a prolific cornerback, unreal. And if he could have left after his freshman year, he would have been a top 5 pick. So it makes sense. He's moving up draft boards right now. Didn't have too great of a year. Didn't have any interceptions this last year or in 2021. But he has, or 2020, excuse me. But he has the talent, though, to be a top 5 pick. So I would not be surprised with him going number 2. Number 3, I have Evan Neal still going to the Houston Texans. Offensive tackle out of Alabama. Very sound offensive lineman. Started at Bama at guard originally and then moved his way all the way to left tackle. Started 3 years with Bama on the offensive line. 13 games at left guard in 2019. 12 games at right tackle in 2020. And 15 games at left tackle in their college football championship win season in 2021. Great offensive lineman. I think he goes number 3 overall to the Texans. Number 4, I have the New York Jets saying Kayvon Thibodeau, edge rusher out of Oregon. Originally, in my last week's mock, I had Trayvon Walker, edge rusher from Georgia, going here. With Thibodeau, he has personality issues, I'm hearing, but is a freak and an athlete, absolute wagon. He started, I think he had 7 sacks in 10 games this year. I know he started and played most of the season, and then the last game, I think he sat out of the bowl game. But in the games he played, that was really good, 7 sacks in 10 games. I'm sure he wanted more, but still a great edge rusher, and the talent and how good of an athlete and how big he is. I think he's warranted a top 5 pick. I know he has personality issues, but Jalen Ramsey was a top 5 pick, and everyone talked about his personality issues and ended up being one of the best cornerbacks in the league within his first year or two. So I think Thibodeau can be right up there. I see him going in the top 5. Number 5 overall, I haven't changed this pick. I got Ikem Ekwonu, offensive tackle out of NC State, becoming the New York Giants' right tackle, something we've needed for years now. My best offensive tackle in the draft, in my opinion, 6'4", 320. He's a mauler in his highlights. He started the final 7 games of his freshman season in 2019 at left tackle. Was the first true freshman in NC State history to start a tackle since 2010. Excuse me, not in history, but since 2010 was their first true freshman to start a tackle since 2010, which is really impressive. He started 12 games in 2020, and then 12 games also in 2021 at the tackle spot again. I see the Giants taking him at 5 and giving Daniel Jones more protection, the protection he and Saquon Barkley both need, which me and my dad were just discussing earlier in the episode. Number 6 overall, I have Trayvon Walker, edge rusher from Georgia, going to the Carolina Panthers. Originally, I had Charles Cross, offensive tackle from Mississippi State, going number 6 to the Panthers. I do think Walker, I see him as overrated just because of how good of a combine he had. He's 6'5", 275, absolute freak athlete at the combine. He's a combine warrior. But I just think guys that were running and playing in shorts, I don't think you can really say, this guy's warranted just a top 5 pick, top 10 pick, just because of how good he was moving at the combine. I like the combine, but I would never say a guy that only had 6 sacks in 13 games this last year at Georgia should be a top 10 pick just because he's an absolute house. I don't know. I think he probably be a good pass rusher in the NFL. I don't think he's going to be elite. I do have him going there to Carolina. He did rank in the top at his position, the D lineman, in the broad jump, 40-yard dash, vertical leap, and the 3-cone drill. He ran an official time of 4.51, 40-yard dash, which was the 3rd fastest of his position. So obviously he had a great combine, but I don't think he should be going top 6 in my opinion. But I have him going 6 right now at Carolina just because of all the hype, and I've been reading that a lot of scouts love him. Number 7, I did not change this pick. Sauce Gardner, cornerback out of Cincinnati, going to the New York Giants. 6'3", got the name at 6 years old, the nickname Sauce. Ahmad Gardner is his real name, but Sauce is his nickname. He only allowed 13 catches for 117 yards in the 2021 season, which featured, Cincinnati going to the college football playoff semifinal game. Obviously, they had a tough game against Alabama, but he was a big reason that defense excelled and they made it to that game. He didn't surrender a touchdown in 33 career games. He's a lockdown corner and only allowed 1 catch for -2 yards against Jameson Williams in the college football semifinal game. So, very good player. I'd love to see the Giants get him 6'3". I think he's going to be a top 5, top 10 corner in the league after his first year. And it would be great to have him and Xavier McKinney in the same secondary. I would love that. And Adoree Jackson, I'm a big fan of. So it'd be great to see that. Donnie Holmes as well, Julian Love. Would love to see him in the Giants. Number 8, The Atlanta Falcons saying Kyle Hamilton, safety out of Notre Dame. Originally, I had Malik Willis, quarterback out of Liberty, going here. But I think Antonio Hamilton, old Giants special teamer. Kyle Hamilton, very versatile and quick safety, makes plays, great pursuit, and runs hard to the ball. I see him going 8 to the Falcons. I know he's been dropping out of some mock drafts, but talent-wise, I think he's worth a top 10 pick. And I know Atlanta, their defense has been an issue now for years. Their offense was always good with Matt Ryan. They just could never really get a defense that could stop a team in the fourth quarter to win some big games. We saw in that meltdown in that Super Bowl against the Patriots where they were up 28-3 and then the defense just went to sleep. I think getting a safety in Hamilton will be big for them, especially with them being a rebuilding team. Getting a ball hawk who can make plays, very versatile, quick. I think he'd be a great addition. 9th overall, I got the Seattle Seahawks taking Malik Willis, quarterback out of Liberty. I originally had Derek Stingley going here in my mock last week. Malik Willis, I think he's a very good quarterback. I think he's a good quarterback, but I would not take any quarterback in the top 10 in this year's draft. I don't think any of them are worth it. Pickett, Malik Willis, Sam Howell, Matt Corral. I don't see any of them being worth a top 10 pick. But I think if I had to pick a top quarterback in this year's draft, Malik Willis would be my pick. I think he will be the best one. And Seattle is a rebuilding team with everyone knowing them trading Russell Wilson. They're in a rebuild. So I think making Malik Willis be their pick at 9 will be a good way for them to start developing their future, especially giving a young quarterback a chance to develop and get some experience, especially in a system that has good weapons. Tyler Lockett, Chris Carson, DK Metcalf. He'll have some weapons to throw into a Fant, who they just got in that trade for Russell Wilson from the Broncos. I think he could fit well in that system, especially since they've had a mobile quarterback in Russell Wilson for years, and Malik Willis is an absolute cannon of an arm. Could throw 70, 75 yards in a blink. So I think he'd be a good draft pick for them. Number 10 overall, I have the New York Jets saying Garrett Wilson, wide receiver out of Ohio State. Originally, I had Kyle Hamilton, the safety for Notre Dame, going here. Garrett Wilson, very versatile and fast. 4.38, 40-yard dash at the combine. They definitely need another weapon. They drafted well with the offensive line in the last 2 drafts. Mekhi Becton in 2020, they took in the first round, and then last year in the 2021 NFL draft, the Jets took Elijah Vera Tucker. So they got a starting left tackle and a starting right guard. And then in this draft, I had them taking Kayvon Thibodeau, so a great edge rusher. And so right now, they definitely could use probably another right tackle. But I think if they took another weapon, giving Zach Wilson another weapon to throw to, especially with them losing Jameson Crowder, they could use another speed guy, another guy to make a big play. Garrett Wilson would be a great contribution to that offense. I think he'd definitely fit in well, especially with how good, the weapons are. They have a lot of young weapons. Elijah Moore, very good season. So hopefully Michael Carter had a very good rookie season. Definitely they could use another weapon for Zach Wilson. No team is ever going to want to be shy of weapons. You can never have too much talent on a team. As I was talking with Jim Madigan about Northeastern's AD and former head coach in hockey, I was talking to him 3 weeks ago now at the Northeastern PC Beanpot baseball game. We were talking about you can never have too much talent on a team, which is seen with, both the Jackson twins, Ty Jackson, Dylan Jackson on Northeastern, both transferring to Arizona State, and TJ Semdenfelter, the backup goalie, with Devin Levi returning to Northeastern. Semdenfelter transferred to Arizona State. I think he's going to be a top 5 goalie in college hockey. That's a big pickup. That's the issue. Sometimes you can have too much talent. It's never an issue as a coach, but as a player, sometimes you want more playing time, and that's the reason Northeastern's losing some guys. But in the NFL, you can never have too much talent at the wide receiver position. So I have the Jets taking Garrett Wilson at 10, which would be a great pickup for them. Now moving on really quick, Stellwagen softball, which I covered very briefly in last week's episode. Obviously it didn't save, but I would love to cover it now. I was telling some of the guys on the team in the last week or so that I have a show. Mully just emailed yesterday in the email group chat saying that he has COVID. So Mully, I hope you're doing well. Hopefully you're recovering. Hopefully you're back on the field soon. We definitely could use you out there. He said he's been listening and catching up on the playbook with Joey and Zach in his time in quarantine, which is great. So hopefully when I send this to the group chat, you can listen in, and hopefully it can make your day better. I know you have COVID, so hopefully you get better soon. We need you out there on the field. It's always a pleasure playing with you. Anyways, huge win for Stellwagen softball on Thursday night over Local 4, 15-6 win. The bets really got going, and the defense in the later of the last 3 innings of the game, the latter part of the game, was elite. We were elite on defense in the last 3 innings. Every one of the team was making the plays that were hit at them, and that's what we really needed. In the later innings in the last year or so, which we won in 2020 season, but in the 2021 season, we'd get to the 5th, 6th, 7th innings, maybe even the 4th inning, mid part of the game, and that's where we'd kind of, have some tough areas, some not great areas, and then they end up being costly and runs not scoring. But in the last 3 innings against Local 4, we were elite on defense. We had a 10-run 6th inning offensively. Harry Braga, leadoff hitter, absolute stud, started off the inning with a walk. Sean McKenna as well followed it up. He's our number 2 hitter. Another walk he had, which it's a pleasure going to every game with them. I meet up with Harry Braga, Sean McKenna, Dave McKenna for the games, all 3 of them playing the outfield together. I meet up with them. We drive to the games. And I was telling them last week that I have a radio show, so it'll be great to send this to them, and I'm happy I'm able to talk about them live on air now and throw it on Spotify so they can hear me talking about the team. This would be my weekly Stellwagen softball my weekly Stellwagen softball segment, which would be great, for them to hear. I'm sure they'll be excited to hear me talk about them. So 10-run 6th inning, Harry Braga led it off. Sean McKenna, both of them had huge walks. Runners on first and second, nobody out. Down 6-5. And who else other than Chris Mad Dog McKenna coming up to the plate, our coach, our captain, coming up and smoking a ball into right field for a huge 2-run triple. Really got us going, gave us a 7-6 lead. And just things started going way uphill after that. We just really started really grinding outs and not grinding outs. We weren't getting anyone out. We were grinding hits, avoiding outs, making plays, getting guys on base, and that's what softball's all about. We played as a team, and that's the way you have to win. That's the way you have to play to win games. Pat followed it up with an RBI double, scored Mad Dog in. I got up to the plate after Pat, had an RBI single, scored Pat from second base. Then the ace, who I'm going to show a little bit later on in the episode, probably in a few minutes. I'll give his post-game press conference. The ace, Kyle Camp, reached base on an error. The Danger Camp connection, which I'll talk a little bit about later on in the episode. The Danger Camp connection is officially back. Danny Danger, a catcher, and Kyle Camp on the mound. They've been great together in the 2 games I've played with them. Dave McKenna got up after that, single to keep the inning going. Then Danny Danger got up with another huge single to score a couple more runs. Our third baseman, Matt, singled yet again, another run, another batted in run. He was 2 of 3 on the night. Also drew 2 walks, which was great. He was on base 4 times. And of course, as you all expect from how big of an inning, we had Steve Abrams gets up to the plate, our second baseman, singled in yet another run. He had a great game defensively. We almost turned 2. We were inches away, which I think next game, Tuesday night, will be the night we turn it. And then, lo and behold, our leadoff stud hitter once again, Harry Braga, the absolute weapon, got up to the plate again, reached base on, I think, another single. So we had a ton of singles in this inning. And then Sean McKenna got on base yet again before Chris Mad Dog McKenna singled in another run for our 10th run of the inning. We scored 10 runs in the 6th. Absolutely huge. We needed it. The boys really got going. We're 2-2 now in the season. We had the crispest 6th and 7th inning I think we've ever had. We've never had that crisp of a offense and defensive combined effort in a 2-inning window in my 4 or 5 years of playing. So I'm very proud with how much his team has grown. And now I'm going to play a clip of the postgame press conference with our ace, Kyle Camp. Here is Quincy men's softball's favorite right now for Cy Young and Stellwagen's ace, Kyle Camp, talking his postgame press conference. He played great. He finished the game with 4 strikeouts, which is elite. That's why he's a Cy Young. He strikes out 2 or 3 guys every night. And only 1 walk. 4 strikeouts, 1 walk. He's been stellar on the mound all season. Here he is breaking down how the game went, how it felt to give this team a huge win to get us back to 500 on the season. Here we are with the ace, Stellwagen softball, coming off 4 strikeouts. 4 was it?
Yeah, I think so.
4 strikeouts, 1 walk. How'd it feel to do out there?
It felt great. It feels like all the hard work that I've done throughout the off season and then the program that the coach put in. I think it's really paying off, and the sky's the limit with this team.
Absolutely.
2022 is going to be our year.
Absolutely. What were you doing in the offseason? You said you were pitching in your backyard, right?
Yeah. I was pitching in the backyard, doing the toss, having my dog bring back the ball.
Oh, there you go.
And then I was doing this little rice thing where I was putting my hand into the rice and putting it back and forth, trying to get that strength up. Besides that, though, it's just a heavy steady of Coors Lights and fried chicken.
There you go. It works. It works, right? Don't change anything now. How does it feel to be the ace, though, of Stellwagen softball?
No, the way I see it is like, who else is going to do it? Somebody had to step up, and it ended up being Camp.
That's it. And
Camp's got it.
Similar question: how does it feel to be right now the favorite to win Cy Young of the league?
It's a long season. I don't really like individual stats, but I'm all about the W's. That's exactly.
It's a team sport,
all right,
right?
Joe, I'm going to get back down to
some beers. Always a pleasure. Next game Tuesday.
Thanks, buddy.
We'll break it down then. So there you go. There you have it. Kyle Camp, ace of the Stellwagen softball team, checking in and giving his take of how Thursday night's win went. Huge win for the boys, 2-2 now in the season. We now play again on Tuesday night, 9 o'clock game. Big game for us to get back over 500 was Thursday night. Huge to get 500. Now we're looking to improve, be 3-2 in the season. Tuesday night will be a big win if we can pull one out. I'm excited to be there Tuesday night. Always a pleasure playing with these guys every single year. It's like, I think it's my 4th or 5th season now. My old neighbor in Southie, Steve, our second baseman, who I just talked about a couple minutes ago for his singles, he played great. 2 big singles, or maybe even 3, 2 or 3 big singles in our Thursday night win. And then even on Tuesday night, which we had a tough loss, we were up 3 runs going into the bottom. We were up 1 run, or 2 runs going into the bottom of the 7th inning, or top of the 7th inning, and we ended up losing the 1 run lead. I think we were up 8-7, and we ended up giving up 3 runs or 4 runs, and we ended up losing that game on Tuesday night. But Steve played great in that offensively, on which that game, the offense was great once again. We were great on offense in that game. It was just the defense in the later innings, wasn't up to the degree we needed it. But with how great we played on Thursday night, the boys are confident. I'm very confident in this team and where this team's going. As Kyle said, the sky's the limit for this team. And I'm happy to be able to talk about them live on air right now. I'm excited to be able to send them this. Obviously, I'm just recording this in my dorm room tonight. It's not live on the radio on the AM station. But on Wednesday night, I will be live again on air. So hopefully they can listen in then live. I'll definitely send this to our email group chat so they can listen in. But as I said, it's a pleasure playing with these guys. There's nothing like going to these games on Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, Monday, Friday nights, especially during the summer. It's great. Even in the cold. The last few games have been cold, but being able to play with them is a pleasure, and I'm happy to be able to be part of the Quincy Men's Softball League on the Stellwagen squad. So thank you guys for allowing me to play with you. Looking forward to Tuesday night's game. Anyways, guys, wrapping up the rest of the show. BC Baseball right now. Down 4-1 at Virginia Tech in the top of the 9th. Virginia Tech got guys in first and second with 1 out. Mason Pelio just entered the game. Tough situation to come into, especially he's got a 12.08 ERA on the season. Tough for him to come in with guys on first and second, only 1 out. But hopefully we can try to find a way to get out of this jam and then go and limit the damage and go into the bottom of the 9th, only down 3. Northeastern Baseball finished off the game against High Point. Big win, 11-1. Now looking tomorrow to win the weekend series in Sunday's matchup. Northeastern needs it, especially with, they're about 18-19-1 now in the season to get back to 500, just like the Stellwagen softball team. Getting back to 500 always is great knowing, especially if you're down. If you're 1-2 or 18-19-1, you're only 1 game away from 500. And if you win another game, you're a game over 500 and you just keep building from there. So hopefully we can get another win tomorrow against High Point. It would be huge for Northeastern. Finishing up now with the Red Sox, bottom of the 9th inning, 0-0. A lot of close games here. Red Sox 0-0 on the bottom of the 9th. The Rays do have a guy on first base right now, and obviously you never want to see, especially with that Rays lineup, with how good they are, you definitely don't want to see them ever with guys on base, especially at the bottom of the 9th inning. Let's see. Oh, we got 3 outs. Never mind. Double play. Huge. Xander Bogaerts, Trevor Story to Bobby Dahlbeck. We got out of the inning. Huge. Wow. Going into the top of the 10th inning now, it'll be extra innings for the Red Sox. Top of the 10th, 0-0 ball game. What a pitcher's duel. The Red Sox even have a hit yet? The Red Sox don't even have a hit, which is ridiculous. And the Rays only have 2. What a pitcher's duel. And now checking in on the Celtics really quickly. 53-50 now at halftime. Huge for the for the Celtics to have a lead. This would be a huge win, obviously, if they could go up 3-0. Payne Pritchard, who I've highlighted earlier in the episode with Zach, 10 points in 8 minutes, 4 of 5 from the field, 2 of 3 from 3. Jason Tatum, 12 points, 2 of 6 from 3, and 4 of 9 from the field. And then Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown, 8 points apiece, and Grant Williams at 7. Looking at the net side, Bruce Brown has been playing very well this series, 16 points, 2 rebounds. Kyrie Irving with 10 points, and Kevin Durant with 7 points and 5 rebounds. Durant's 3 of 5 from the field, so I'd imagine his shot total will definitely go up. He only has 5 shots right now from the field. And you look at Kyrie Irving, he's 4 of 11, and Bruce Brown 7 of 13. Bruce Brown having 13 shots, and Kevin Durant only at 5 is ridiculous. I'd imagine Durant is going to take a lot of shots now in the last second half of the game. So looking forward to being able to watch that. Anyways, this wraps up the episode. Thank you guys so much for listening in to another week of the Playbook with Joey and Zach. We'll be back on Wednesday night. Definitely talk about the NFL draft. Probably talk about the Bruins, too. I mean, the Bruins only have, let me see right now, they only have a couple games left before the playoffs, which is great. We'll cover that. Probably have the sports guru call in, talk about the Bruins, which would be great. The Bruins only have 4 games left in the season. Huge win today, which I know I was just closing up, but I forgot to talk about the Bruins. 3-1 win today was huge against the Rangers. The Rangers have had a great year, 51-22-6. The Bruins had a huge goal, and David Pasternak's return, a goal and assist. Then Trent Frederick, who's been very hot, had a goal, and then Taylor Hall had a goal. We need Taylor Hall to shoot more. That's been an issue. I know Mike Curley called into Felger and Maz and said, Taylor Hall never shoots, and he's right. Taylor Hall has to shoot more. Huge for him to have a goal today. Bruins win 3-1. Allmark was stellar in net, 30 saves and 31 save opportunities, and only allowed 1 goal to one of the best offenses in the NHL. So, big win for the Bruins. We'll cover that. They do play tomorrow night against the Montreal Canadiens in Montreal. Jordan Harris, former Northeastern Husky captain. I'm a big fan of him, as is Mark Walsh. I've been a big fan of him since his freshman year at Northeastern. Happy to see him finally make the NHL and make it big. He's been playing really well for the Canadiens. Obviously, he doesn't have a goal and assist yet, but from the few minutes I've seen in a game or so, I've probably seen a game total now, and all the minutes cut up I've seen. I haven't watched a full game, but I've watched 5 minutes every now and then. He's looked really well. Played really well, looked really good out there. Happy to see him finally get his opportunity in the NHL, especially with how highly touted of a prospect he was for a team that's been struggling this whole year. At least he brings some life and excitement to the Canadiens organization. The Bruins do play him tomorrow. I would love to see him get a goal and assist in tomorrow's game. Obviously, it's tough with them playing the Bruins, but I'm a big Jordan Harris guy. I would love to see him score, especially with how good of a guy he was, how nice of a guy and class act he was when me and Mark Walsh met him twice. Was a pleasure. And then after the Western Michigan game in the Frozen Four tournament, when he lost, when Northeastern lost, excuse me for my voice cracking, I got to get my voice back here. In that game, though, that they lost to Western Michigan, afterwards he gave a stick raise to the fan section, and then me and Mark were just a little bit to the left, and I banged on the glass, and he looked at me and Mark, gave us a stick wave. He knew how much, we loved Northeastern hockey and how big of fans he were, so it was great to have him, give us some recognition. Obviously, with the Canadiens, Guy Lafleur just passed away. Canadiens, an NHL legend, just passed away at the age of 70. Huge loss. The Bruins actually paid tribute to him in today's game. 70 years old, though, one of the best hockey players. My dad was always a big fan, and we have a couple of his hockey cards. Sad to see him go, especially at such a young age, only 70. And I'm happy to see the Canadiens commemorated him, especially with how much he dominated in the NHL and how great of a player he was. He was always elite and was one of the best players in the game every single season he played. So my thoughts and prayers are with the Lafleur family. And thank you, Guy, for everything you did for the hockey, for the history of hockey, how great a player you were. And also factor in, I want to talk a little bit about Jerry York and how much he meant to the state of hockey, college hockey. Jerry, thank you so much for everything you did for for BC hockey. Obviously, I'm a Northeastern hockey fan as well as a BC hockey fan, but everything you meant to the Hockey East with how great you recruited and made BC be a legit powerhouse in the Hockey East. Everyone's always highly regarded the Hockey East in the last 10 to 15 to 20 years because of how good of a head coach you were. And I truly am thankful to being able to have seen you on campus 4, 5, 6 times this year and probably 5 times freshman year and being able to say hello to you. You're a class act, nothing short of a hockey legend, one of the best coaches in probably hockey history, not even just college hockey, but in hockey history. So it's truly a pleasure being able to be on campus at the same time you were coaching. And I'm thankful to being able to have spoken to you multiple times. Truly are a great guy, and thank you for everything you did for BC hockey and hockey in general. I love college hockey, and college hockey would not be the same without how great you were, especially at BC. BC hockey would not be as historic as it is today if it were not for you coming from Bowling Green in 1994 and creating a powerhouse with millions of first-round picks to come and great college hockey seasons and huge Beanpot wins and national championships. College hockey, BC hockey, sports, BC sports in general would not be the same without you. So thank you for everything you did for the BC program. And I look forward to seeing everything you do in your retirement. Hopefully see you back at County Forum for a game soon. Bobby Dahlbeck just scored the Rays no hit bid in the 10th inning. Just had an RBI triple. The Red Sox now are up 2-0. Vasquez just hit another run in. 2-0 in the bottom of the 10th inning. The Red Sox didn't have a hit until this inning. So winning this game and not having a hit until the 10th inning would be elite. Very proud to see how the Red Sox have grinded out this game. Hopefully we can close the game, but we know the Red Sox pitching woes have been an issue all year. It's short in the season, but the pitching woes have been not great, especially with how good the offense can be. We have so much potential. You're not going to win every game, even if you score 5 runs, if you're giving up 7 or 8. So hopefully the Red Sox pitching gets better soon. Lastly, I just want to talk 1 second about the Celtics. The Celtics are up 53-50 right now. If they were to win tonight, it'd be 3-0. Big difference between 2-1 and 3-0. Me and Zach will be back on Wednesday night, which would be the same time probably as our show, or realistically if they were to be a Game 5 and the Nets were to win either 3 or 4, Game 5 would probably be Wednesday night, maybe around the same time as our show at 7. I know Zach will probably want to watch that game if it were to be a 7 o'clock game. If it's an 8 o'clock game, we'll probably still do our show from 7 to 8. But if it's a 7 o'clock game, I'll probably be in the studio just because the NFL draft is on Thursday. And I'll have a ton to cover, especially since the NFL draft is one of my favorite things in the world. I'll give, my top 10 mock draft again, maybe even 15 I'll go up to. I'll give some insight into sleepers, some guys I think are going to be breakout players, and guys that I think are going to be busts. I'm going to definitely give some insight into that. I'm looking forward to doing that, especially since I love college hockey, I love college football. I love the NFL. I love the Giants, obviously, and they have a big opportunity ahead of them at 5 and 7 in the draft, 5th and 7th picks. I covered the Frozen Four tournament last week's episode. Obviously, Denver won over Minnesota State, 5-1. They scored 5 goals in the third period. Huge win. They lit up Dryden McKay, who won the Hobie Baker Award. McKay's actually been in the news over the past week. He actually took some supplement that had some type of it wasn't performance-enhancing drug, but it was a drug that was outlawed or against the college hockey guidelines. And he ended up being, I think, suspended like 6 months, so he'd have to wait now to start his professional career in the fall. He won the Hobie Baker Award. I guess they knew about it mid-season in February, and there was a mediator involved in February that said, he could finish out the season type of thing because they didn't think it was performance-enhancing. But the Hobie Baker Foundation just announced that they're not going to strip him of the Hobie Baker Award that he did win. He was the recipient of it a couple weeks ago now at Encore in Boston. Obviously, Devin Levi won the Richter Award, which is given to the best college hockey goalie. He was very much warranted. He deserved it more than any goal in college hockey. I think he was better than Dryden McKay. Dryden McKay gave 5 goals in that third period to Denver, and I don't think Devin Levi would have done that. But obviously Dryden McKay had a great year, 37 wins in the season, was a lead all year, but obviously Minnesota State being a top 5 team in the country all season, Devy gave him a higher chance of winning it just because Minnesota State was highly regarded all year and had all the media attention. But I'm happy to see Denver win. They were a legitimate wagon all season. My dad actually had Denver versus Minnesota State in the finals, so it's impressive. He had Denver over Minnesota State. I obviously had Northeastern winning it just because I'm a big Northeastern fan. But I did have, after Northeastern lost to Western Michigan after the first weekend, I came in on Wednesday and had Denver winning it. Obviously, my dad's a big fan of him. I was a big fan of Bobby Brink, who I think should have won the Hobie Baker Award. Had a great season. Tough to see him not win it. He was the Division I points leader, had a great season, and also had a huge assist in overtime to beat Michigan in the semifinals game. 3-2, they beat Michigan. Michigan, as I've said before, had 14 draft picks, NHL draft picks on their team, and 7 first rounders. 4 of the top 5 picks in the 2021 NHL draft went to Michigan were on the team this year. So they had 14 college hockey players that were drafted in the NHL and 7 first rounders. So they were a legit wagon. I was happy to see them lose just because I thought it was unfair having 14 guys be NHL draft picks and you only shoot 17 or 18 guys for a game. I just thought it was, ridiculous that they had that many. You shoot like 19 guys, let's say, for a game, maybe 20 with that extra skater, and 14 of them were NHL draft picks. That's ridiculous. Happy to see Denver win. They deserved it. 5 goals in the third period. They were down 1-0 going into 3. Sam Morton scored in the second period to give Minnesota State the lead. Denver ended up scoring 5 goals, I said, in the third period. Huge win for them. I look forward to covering college hockey again next season. Sad the season's over, but I'm a big college hockey fan. Looking forward to next year, especially for Northeastern with all the talent they have coming back in Sam Colangelo and Gunnawagan Fontaine, Jaden Struble, Jack Hughes, Riley Hughes, Devin Levi. Looking forward to seeing them grow and develop as a team. Hopefully a bigger season next year for them. And then one last thing, BC Baseball finished up the series tomorrow against Virginia Tech. They right now still in the 9th inning, still losing 4-1, I believe. They do finish up that weekend series, tomorrow at 1, and then they play at home Tuesday night against Rhode Island. They had a tough loss to UConn on Wednesday at home, 8-0, and then also got swept by NC State. Had close games at NC State, though. 4-3, they lost the first game, 7-6 in 11 innings, and then 6-3. Northeastern went into NC State earlier in the year and actually swept them when they were the number 8 team in the country. Northeastern was unreal pitching and won all 3 games, which was great to start the season. BC Baseball struggled against them, but BC only lost by 1 in 2 of those games, and NC State has so much talent. And BC Baseball did win the Bean Pot, obviously 14-10 over UMass Amherst, which was a huge win. I covered it a little bit in last week's episode. I'm only covering some things again just because I like having it recorded so people that are listening in can get some information about what's going on in college baseball, college football, college hockey. I do that a ton just so people can know what's going on. BC was the visitor at home in that finals game. They were down 7-2 in the third inning, rebounded with 2 runs each in the 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th innings. Then 4 runs in the 8th. 25 hits between both teams. 25 hits is nuts. 12 for BC and 13 for UMass. It was a high offensive game. Joe Vetrano stayed hot, was 3 of 5 that game with 3 RBIs. Travis Honeyman was 2 of 5. Luke Gold was 2 of 4 with 3 RBIs. And the pitching has been an issue with BC all year. And they have that lineup hitting-wise to score enough runs. It's just the pitching that's been an issue. Anyways, thank you guys so much for listening in to this week's episode. I'm sorry again for not being able to have it this past Wednesday. I was at the Red Sox game, and then Zach was also watching the Celtics' first game against the Nets. Or was it the second game? It was game 2 against the Nets. So it was obviously tough timing with the Nets being versus the Celtics at that same time. But thank you guys so much for listening every single week. And lastly, as I always do, I just want to give thoughts and prayers with the Ukraine. Once again, I've done it now probably 4 or 5 straight episodes. And as I've said, I love sports more than anything. It's a pleasure being able to come on here and talk about sports. Obviously, there's a lot of things going on in the world. And being able to have the privilege to come on and talk about sports is a pleasure and great for me, but obviously there's a lot of things going on in the Ukraine, and just want to give my thoughts and prayers with them since I have the platform to do so. Hopefully things get better there soon. Thank you guys so much for listening. I'll be back this Wednesday night with Zach. Hopefully the Celtics can sweep this series and they won't have a game Wednesday night. We'll be back Wednesday night to talk about the NFL draft, the Celtics, probably have some time for some more call-ins. Obviously last week I had my friend Matt call in, my Uncle Frankie call in, Mark Walsh called in, and then I also had my dad call in last week and then also this week. Pleasure being able to have all of them come on. Obviously it was tough not having it save, but it was great being able to have my dad come on again tonight and give a breakdown of everything we kind of talked about last week. Thank you guys so much again for listening. Looking forward to Wednesday night's episode. Hope you guys have a good rest of the weekend. Stay safe, stay well. Go Celtics. Have a good one. Take it easy. Thank you guys. As always, I appreciate it. Truly means a lot.